You're listening to the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast, live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's our live weekly chat with Missouri Western coaches and athletes. Here's your host for the Griffin Sports Insider Podcast, Tommy Rezach.
And good afternoon. Welcome to our Griffin Sports Insider Podcast on a Monday, September 22nd, 2025. I'm Tommy Rezach. Glad to have you along. Again, we got a busy next hour or so. We're going to be talking golf. Golf has the week off, so Matt Thrasher is here on our roundtable to kick things off with soccer coach Jake Plocher, cross-country coach Sean Gosewisch. Cross-country coming off a big day in Joplin on Saturday, which we'll talk about. Soccer, their conference opener coming up against Rogers State on the road this Friday, and we got football and volleyball to talk later on in the program as well. Coaches, thanks for being here today. Kind of an interesting sports thing. We got a few questions I want to throw at you, but did some research this morning. I saw Colorado, the Buffaloes, debuted a new live buffalo during their game against Wyoming this past Saturday. Pretty unique, right, to have that as their mascot. What's the most iconic mascot, though, in sports in your mind?
Iconic
mascot.
I mean, I know one of the most unique one was my high school, the Zizzers.
The Zizzers?
Yep.
What does that mean?
It's like a lightning bolt in a winter. It's just it's a very up for interpretation of what you want it to be. But the Zizzers, yeah.
And
look it up.
You're from Missouri,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
What was your high school again?
West Plains. Just West Plains High
that's
School.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And Sean Thrash, anything there? Most iconic mascot in sports. I mean, Max the Griffin is a good one. We know that for sure.
Really don't want to mention the town, but the Spoof Hounds.
Well, yeah, that's a unique one. Yeah. Sean, any?
We were the porters in high school.
The porters?
You know, the guys that drag like boats along canals? Yep,
Yeah.
that was us.
Okay,
Yep.
Interesting. All right. St. Joe Marathon's this Saturday. Anyone running in that one?
Not a chance.
No.
What would it take for y'all what would it take for you to run a marathon? What would you have to? What reward would make you want to do the 26.2?
I mean, I've paid to do it before, so I can't really.
Yeah.
That's not a good question for me.
You know, I've done some triathlons and some different things like that in the past, but like a marathon, I don't know. It probably would have to take like a group of people, and again, just doing it for fun and like not racing to be competitive, but just enjoying the scenery or the music, something. But I don't know.
Thrash, what would easily have to do to convince you to run that thing?
Maybe if I got to play Augusta National or something at the end.
That's a good trade-off. Yeah. Sean, have you run a marathon before?
I did. I did the Chicago Marathon in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, how much training does it take to get ready for something like that?
More than I did for that. It's a good answer. But it takes a lot of months, a lot of weeks, and day after day. So
awesome.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Later on in the show, we're going to be talking football and some instant replay things and stuff like that. But it begs the question. This question was floated to me as a possibility. What's like the craziest conversation you ever had with an official during a game? You probably have more instances than
yeah,
guys,
but to be fair, I try to win them over a lot with the conversation, so it's nothing crazy other than there was one call last year at Nationals where they called one of our girls offsides when she wasn't involved in play, and I don't think she was even offsides, and I kind of let the AR have it a little bit, and I apologized afterwards for how maybe aggressive I was with that, but it was a big moment in the game that could have swung things, but otherwise I try to stay composed and not have anything crazy. Anything crazy.
I mean, your demeanor's generally that of a Ted Lasso figure, so you're a pretty nice guy. Yeah. How much are you guys conversing with officials during a golf or a running meet?
Well, if an official's around in golf, your kid usually hit it in the junk, so you try not to have any conversations with them.
Awesome. Yeah, Sean, I imagine probably before the race you're talking to him, but it can't be anything too wild.
Yeah, very little. They're in charge of getting everybody on the line, so they might just say hello or very short conversation with you. That's about all you see them.
Okay, well, maybe a little less eventful than some other sports and things. So we'll talk about all of the fall sports that are going on right now. Golf off this week. We'll hear from Coach Thrasher. Coach Gosewisch will be up. Jess Fye from volleyball. Tyler Fenwick of football all joining us later on in the program. So, guys, thanks once again. Thanks for being here. Thanks for humoring me. And we'll have Thrash stay here. We'll see you two later. So thank you for taking the time. Let's take a break. We'll talk golf next with Coach Thrasher on the GSI Podcast live from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the the Griffin Sports Network. We'll be back in 1 minute. At Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on our GSI podcast is Matt Thrasher, who is on the links with his players for the last few weeks, but both men's and women's golf have a week off from competition this fall. So Coach Thrasher, he was nice enough to text me yesterday and said, hey, do you want me to come? I said, we'd be thrilled to have you, Coach Thrasher, so thanks for coming. Your men were in action this past week in Muskogee for the Northern State University Classic, the Northeastern State Classic, NSU Classic in Oklahoma. And I know the first 2 rounds didn't go as well as you hoped. A better third round, Parker Boggins finishing 21st to lead the way. I know you were down a couple of guys for that one as well. But your men have competed a couple times here. Just thoughts on where they're standing right now.
Yeah, off to a really slow start. We are really proud of our freshmen, to be honest with you. They're Ethan and Parker are playing really well, but we just got to learn how to finish rounds. In this case, at NSU, we need to learn how to start and finish rounds. But we showed that we could play with them. The last day we shot the third lowest score of the day, behind UCO, who should be D1, but they're really tough. But it's UCO, and it's kind of the rest of us. So it's like a tree falling in the woods. Yeah,
them and UCM, it seems like, been toward the top. And that's been kind of you're not the first one I heard to say, UCO, D1. When you see their facilities down there at Edmond, you think, how is that not the case? But that's a song for another time. Yeah. Women's team 2 weeks ago, 7th place finish at the NSU Classic. Pretty solid couple of rounds there. Enos and Saya both in the top 20. Now, they'll be in action next week. But first time out in the fall, what'd you think? I mean, that was 7th out of 22 teams?
Yeah, and then we got third, our first event down at Adams Point, and Avery Wells played really good. She's a freshman, I'm proud of the way the ladies are playing. Enos and Saya are senior leaders, and we just got a couple there at the youngins there with McKenna and Avery.
Yeah, the women's golf last in action 2 weeks ago. A third-place finish in Blue Springs at the Central Region Fall Preview. That was 3 weeks ago at this point. The Griffins finished third out of 18 teams there, and Enos Vandal finishing 5th in that bracket as well. So back toward the top of the leaderboard as she has been. Your women are back at it next week at Newman. That's Monday, Tuesday, September 29th and 30th. The men still got a little time, October 6th and 7th at the Holiday Inn Express Invite. You know where that is. That's at the St. Joe Country Club. So both teams still 4 meets to go, just starting with the women coming up next week. What are you kind of expecting to see there?
Yeah, 4 weeks in a row for the women. So it's going to be a good stretch for us. I can think that the women are going to consistently play consistent like they are. I look for us to always be in a middle to upper pack, and it's just the men just getting it going. We have the talent. It's just a matter of playing more consistently and making more pars. We tell the kids it's not about making birdies, it's about not making bogeys. And we've been doing our fair share of that.
To be back on the home course, obviously, Jeff won at the country club last fall. Tim and Pat do well there. Is that maybe a nice light at the end of the tunnel to know, hey, we're going to play on our turf? This is a place we've done well before.
Absolutely, yeah. This next week is a big week for us. So we can play well at our event and turn this fall season around. Yeah.
Davis and Sam grew up on that course as well. Still plenty of LeBlanc.
Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson Patterson too. Yeah, St. Joe Central, Bishop LeBlanc flavor on that team. So that'll be an exciting event coming off of a busy homecoming weekend. That's when the men will be at the Country Club October 6th and 7th. The women going into Kansas. That's Newton, Kansas, I do believe, for that one.
It's
Sand Creek Station.
Sand Creek Station, outside of Wichita.
The Newman Jets are the host site for that one. So the women's golf team in action a week from now, and then the men's golf team back at home October 6th and 7th. And then Griffin women's golf, as Coach Thrash said, starting next week. They'll be in action 4 straight weeks, and the women will play at the Country Club October 20th and 21st for the Mo West Central Region preview. So still plenty of rounds to be played here in the fall of 25. Well, Coach Thrash, that's probably the last time I'll see you till the spring, so appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
There you go. Matt Thrasher, head golf coach here at Mo West, giving us some time on the podcast. We'll take a break. We'll talk cross country, and we got something to talk about. We got a winner to talk about. Pau Valderrama made some history this past week as the first men's runner to ever win a cross-country race. He'll talk with us along with his coach, Sean Gosewisch. That's next. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on the GSI Podcast, I'm Tommy Rezach as we talk cross-country now. The head coach, Sean Gosewisch, is coming up, and a junior from San Cugat, Cesgarriga, Spain, Pau Valderrama. Pau, I interviewed you in May, and you told me how to pronounce your hometown. Did I get it right that time?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was holding my breath. But congratulations, Pau Valderrama, a winner at the Southern Stampede this past Saturday in Joplin. Give it up for this guy. PR school record time in the 8-kilometer race, 23 minutes, 39.21 seconds, winning by more than a full second at the line. Pau, I'll just start with you. What a moment for you and for this program. First time we've ever had a men's runner cross the line in first. Just, man, what were the emotions on Saturday for you?
Yeah, so happy about what I just achieved. I couldn't believe it. I knew I was fit, but yeah, it was a great experience.
And just a great day for the team. A top 5 finish, 5th out of 26 teams in the field. Weemoch finishing in the top 23 PRs on the men's side. And Coach Gosewisch, every female runner that you had out there ran their career best time in a 5K. Some of them young, some of them it was only their second race or so. But Bailey Cutler getting a PR. Abby Kinney PR'd, and in fact her time was 5th fastest in school history in the women 5K race for the women. So pretty good day in Joplin for everyone overall.
Yeah, I mean, I can't complain. I really give the kids credit because it was a bit of a hectic start, right? There were lightning delays from the second we got out there. By the time they put up a new schedule, the women only had 30 minutes before their race started, so it was pretty frantic just to get warmed up, get to the line. But they handled it really well across the board, so I'm really proud of the way they worked through some adversity and ended up running great.
Now, folks, you may back to Pau real quick. You may remember he qualified for nationals with Weemoch for the 3,000-meter steeplechase in the outdoor track and field season this past May. And I guess in the time from that point to now, there was a lot that went on in the off season. So talk to me about, this is your second year with us. You transferred from Tusculum, which we can talk about, but in this past summer, what was kind of going through your mind and what ultimately wanted to make you stay here in general?
My main goal is just making nationals for cross as a team or individual, whatever. So just trying to get fit October, November, and try to accomplish our goals for as a team and individual, as I said. And yeah, basically taking summer a little bit off, resting, and getting healthy.
Yeah, and Sean, of course, you came over from Tusculum, and we talked about this when we were getting ready for nationals, that he was one that followed you over. Just kind of remind us, to about a year or so ago, when you figured out you'd be coming here, what were the conversations like to convince Pau to become a Griffin?
Sure. I mean, he's put a lot of faith and trust in me over the past 3 years up to this point, which I really appreciate. He's been a pleasure to work with, and it was really just a matter of, moving up the chain, right?
Yeah.
Letting him know that we have better things to work with, better coaching staff, hopefully trusted me enough to make that leap to another university.
Yeah, and Pau had 5 wins in distance track events at Tusculum. At least that's per your Tiefers account online. I think I counted that correctly. But Pau, what is the big difference, if any, getting ready for like a track event running laps versus a cross-country course where it's a bit, more you're outside, you're bobbing and weaving all over the place, running a long race? What's the main difference in preparing for a race like this?
I think the main thing is mentally. I used to do trail running before track and cross, so I love hills, downhills, curves, so I'm just I love cross country as well.
Yeah,
I think it's more a mental thing, but you have to be tough as well, like stronger and fit.
Yeah, well, where you grew up in Spain, that's like southern Spain, right? And is it fairly mountainous there?
2 hours from my place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's just flat and
no.
I don't have hills.
Oh, okay.
But there's some in Barcelona. Don't let them fool you. There's some, but
easy ones. Easy ones.
Yeah, so where you grew up was like west of Barcelona, right? Thereabouts.
40 minutes from Barcelona.
Oh, okay. And that's like southern Spain, right?
Northeast.
Okay, I am like 0 for 3 on my European maps here, so I'll put a bookmark in that. But the Griffin Invite coming up next, a week from this Saturday, October the 4th, 8 a.m. start for the women, 8:45 for the men. And Coach, this is a site where we hosted conference championships. We had the invite there last year. For folks who may want to come out, we know that's a big weekend. We're going to have a lot of alums on our campus celebrating the 50 years of women's sports at Mo West, which is a year-long celebration going on. But for fans that may want to come out and watch POW and watch your athletes, go east on Mitchell, turn left on 50th. You'll find it from there. But what's it like just hosting an event out there, and what would be your pitch to get some fans to come out and watch this?
Sure. I mean, the energy's always there, right? If you've never been to a cross meet, the second that gun goes off, you see crowds of people running back and forth, right? No matter the age, you'll see grandmas sprinting from one end to the other, right? So the energy's there. It's a beautiful cross-country course. If you're into the outdoors, it's a good place to be, just to watch some running. So it's a good time. Come on out and enjoy.
And, Pau, you guys get to practice on this course. You've competed on it more than once. What's the advantage, do you think, for the team to have this next invite at home?
I think it's a fast course, and that's good to running fast. But we need good guys as well to run fast, good competition. And I love this course. It's hilly. It's not easy, but you can run fast.
Yeah, we're going for back-to-back victories here, so we look forward to seeing what the Griffins do. They'll have the week off from competition this week, but Sean, you told me that while you're not running the marathon, these guys will be out helping with water and things, right? Yeah, we generally do some volunteer hours with the St. Joe Marathon, so we'll have a handful of volunteers and a couple shifts throughout that process. Awesome. Well, we'll look for those guys and give them a high five if you see them out and about. And good luck to all the runners competing on Saturday, and good luck to the Griffs who will compete a week from Saturday at the home course for the Griffin Invitational. Big event, which we'll talk more on next week as well. And Pau Valderrama, the first men's winner in program history in a cross-country race. So, Pau, congratulations on all your success. Good luck down the road.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. There you go. Pau Valderrama and Sean Gosewisch giving us some time for cross country. What a day, really, for both teams. The women too, 8 out of 22 teams. Yeah, it was a good one in Joplin. Let's take a break. We'll talk soccer next. Jake Plocher's here, and one of his student athletes, Ava Martin, will join us as they get ready to open MIAA play in Claremore, Oklahoma, against Rogers State. We discuss it next on the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Continuing from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill on our GSI Podcast, we talk Griffin soccer now for the second year in a row, unbeaten, entering conference play. The record now at 4-0-1. Griffins had one match this past Tuesday down the road in Liberty, and they took on William Jewell. Here to talk about it, Jake Plocher and a freshman forward from Ankeny, Iowa, Ava Martin, who clocked her first career collegiate goal in that match in the second half. But, Coach, that was the one that we had to wait a little while. 2-hour rain delay, storm delay down there in Kansas City. It was weird because it was sunny in St. Joseph, but storms to our south. But nonetheless, 5 different Griffs score a goal. And, yeah, you're unbeaten up to this point. Thoughts on the effort Tuesday night?
Yeah, we knew it was a game that we wanted to get in just because of kind of the long delay between our next game, which is opening up conference play. So, we were running through some different scenarios of, okay, well, do we have to go on Tuesday this week, or when can we maybe make it work with their schedule? But thankfully the weather was able to kind of push away, and we started a little bit later, but we were able to get it in, and very pleased and proud of how they responded, having to deal with some of that. We started and stopped warming up 3 times, I believe, or 2 times. So, just being able to mentally stay in the moment and be prepared. And then when the game started, going out and executing.
And Ava, your goal came in the 74th minute. You assisted on a Kendall Nisley goal in the first half. Had several shots that you took as well in that one. Just for you personally, what kind of a confidence builder was that for you to see one go in there late?
It was really nice. I mean, I've been playing in games, but just to see a goal go in the net always feels good. So it was really a relief.
Now, what's been fun, at least what was fun for me watching the first 2 matches, is we talked a lot about the returning cast, but we've seen so many newcomers. We were one of 4 freshmen who have gotten to play some significant minutes. Coach, just over to you to get people like Ava. We had Rosemary up here last week. I mean, to not only get them to play, but to score. Rosemary had the goal. To have these youngsters compete in this way, I mean, that's got to be an advantage going forward.
Yeah, I think it's big. I think obviously them coming in, being able to kind of take that pressure off of being able to score, their first collegiate goal hopefully helps them relax a little bit more and be able to play. But we've been super impressed and pleased and just encouraged with the growth of our freshman group and all of our new incoming players. So I think it's just the beginning in regards to how Ava Martin or Rosemary for our freshman attackers are going to be moving forward.
Yeah, Ava, just touching on your recruitment a little bit. Ankeny Centennial was your high school, right?
Yeah,
a lot of good athletes come out of there for sure. And you were a pretty good basketball player player there as well. And for those that don't know, Ava holds high school records at Centennial. Most goals, most assists, most points. So that being said, what was your recruiting process like, and why Mo West?
My recruiting process started mainly my senior year. I kind of was a late recruitment. I didn't really decide I wanted to play till like my senior year of high school. But I just started visiting some schools, and I really liked Missouri Western. I feel like the environment was really nice. It was competitive. They were having such a good season last year that it was just such an exciting time to like join the team. And I liked a lot of different parts about it. So,
okay. What are you studying right now?
I'm studying management and entrepreneurship.
Nice. Everything going good? I mean, we're about a month into this thing already. Every class is going good. And
yeah,
everything?
my classes aren't too bad so far, so it's going good.
Well, that's good to hear. We'll hear from you at midterms and see how you feel. But no, that's awesome. We're glad to have you here. Conference opener this Friday. We're at Rogers State, 7 o'clock, and the Hillcats come in at 0-2-3 on the year. What's interesting, Coach? Yeah, they haven't got a win, but they've been scoring. They've scored one goal in every match so far this year. They drew Oklahoma Baptist over the weekend. 2-2 was the final there. And if I remember right, Kyle Schmidt was calling the match for me, but I was listening to it. It took a game winner there late in the second half to get by them. I think we scored a couple on them late, but they were gritty. They played us tough here at home last year. So what's the expectation this Friday?
Yeah, no, again, I mean, they're an athletic team. They're a team that, is going to come out and work hard. I think, we mentioned it even last year where maybe they were a much better team than what their end results showed, and like most teams in the conference, they've had a good recruiting class, and it's going to be a fun one. There's a lot of still ties and connections with there, whether that's Dugan or other staff members. Yeah. So it'll be good, but it'll be a good test. Be able to get out there and kind of everyone we've kind of mentioned it this week, and today is everyone's 0-0 right now. And we want to try to go out and go 1-0. It's our only conference game of the weekend. So hoping we're able to go out and put a strong performance out there.
Yeah, Andrew Thullison, a former strength coach of ours, he's down there. And, yes, the aforementioned Brandon Dugan, he went back home to be their Associate AD of Communications. So when you see him, just give him a big old wedgie from me and tell him I said hi. So there you go. That's the one match this week. It's unusual. You usually play Friday, Sunday, but the Griffins play just this one Friday match, and then they'll be back home Friday, October 3rd against the Newman Jets. So, Ava, Jake, thank you so much. Safe travels, and good luck this week.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. Ava Martin, Jake Plocher joining us here on the GSI Podcast. We'll take a break, and we'll come back. We'll talk volleyball. The head coach, Jessica Fye, is here. Griffins are 8-3 as they open conference play on the road in the Sunflower State. They'll play Washburn and Emporia State this week. We'll talk about it in just a minute. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Back on our GSI Podcast, I'm Tommy Rezonch as we talk Griffin volleyball now with the head coach, Jessica Fye. The Griffs had yet another non-conference tournament on the road. Didn't have to go far, just to the east in Kirksville for the Truman State Tournament, which got underway on Friday. The Griffins take 2 out of 3 matches there. Sweeps over William Jewell and Truman on Friday, and then Rockhurst swept us on Saturday. So not the way we wanted it to end, but I tell you what, Rockhurst, we talked about them up here last week, that they played a unique schedule. They went to Alaska. They had wins over Hayes and Northwest earlier in the year, so perhaps their team a good one. But, Coach, kind of like Colorado, the first day it's a good start, and then the second day I know obviously left something to be desired. Just, I guess, what was the difference, again, between Friday and Saturday?
Well, Rockers is a much better team than the teams we played on Friday.
Yeah.
We were able to get a lot of kids in on Friday's matches that don't necessarily get a lot of playing time. And then, definitely more to be desired on our Saturday match. It's just disappointing that we had to end our good preseason on a match where I felt like there was just a lack of response, a lack of in-game adjustment. I didn't feel like there was a high execution. You look at the stats, and when a team hits 400 against you, you're thinking that they have 8 All-American hitters on their team, but that's just how short we fell defensively and blocking-wise against them. So definitely a lot to focus on moving into practice this week. But, it was a disappointing match. I don't want to take anything away from Rockhurst because they played very, very well, and they're a very good team. But, it's not always just about losing. It's how we lost, and I thought we lost pretty poorly.
Yeah, Rockers threw 11 blocks, hit 393 on 8 errors, so that was an efficient one for them. And we talked about it last week. Obviously this isn't new at this point, 11 matches in, but that switch to a 6-2, playing the different setters. What has been kind of the curve with that? I mean, it's a a change. It's a pivot from the style we did play, the 5-1. What has been that learning curve, and how have you seen the team kind of embrace it and just start to learn it?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the adjustment, how you run your offense when you're used to a 5-1. You know, Emma was used to being able to run that slide behind Nessa a lot, and now she's more stuck in front because there's another hitter behind her. So really it's just personnel and experience. I think we're still trying to find our footing in those two positions. Our setters are still trying to work through their decision making, when to, when not to, who should I give a ball in this situation. And so I think there's still a lot to learn from them in it, and then just being able to play a complete game. Like setters, it's not your job's not just to set a ball and say, okay, hitter, go get it. It's to like make the defense think on the other side. And our setters right now are just setting balls. Like they need to run an offense, and there's a difference between setting a ball and running an offense. And our setters are not running an offense efficiently right now. We'll see glimpses of it, and then it kind of goes away. And so in order to be a high-level team, in order to compete at the top of this league, like our setters need to run an offense, and then our hitters need to do a better job being veteran hitters on these inexperienced setters. Like we need to be more aggressive and just give them maybe a little bit of grace while we kind of work through this. Yeah.
Well, I want to shed some positivity. I like what you said there, that the match on Saturday really not characteristic of the non-conference we've had, and that's true. 8 wins in the first 11. That's including 2 ranked teams, 3 regional wins. So it's certainly, you look at it by and large, like you like a lot of it. I know there's some things to fix. So we've seen the potential of this team, what they can do, beating number 2 in the country. So that being said, just are you confident that the work this week will be energized and just and gritty, wanting to get after it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think we all have a really poor taste in our mouth. I still feel like I'm in a little bit of a funk and a daze from Saturday's match. So definitely we'll get after it. Anytime that you start conference play, it's just, it's here. Preseason's great. It's we challenge ourselves, but really that's to get ready for conference play, and this is what we play for. So I definitely think we'll find our footing, find our energy again once we try, kind of get this grossness out of our mouth from Saturday.
And yeah, especially our conference, we know this is as good as it gets at this level in the country, with 12 of the 13 teams with winning records through non-conference play. And at the tippity top, it's so good right now. UCO, Kearney, and Washburn all unbeaten. And wouldn't you know it, we play Washburn this week on the road on Saturday at 6, and then Emporia State comes up first Friday at 6 o'clock. And Emporia's on a roll. They've won 9 straight at this point in time. We know these teams. We've beaten these teams. It's hard to go on the road, though, particularly to Topeka and Emporia. I feel like that's a program that's really taken some steps here the last couple of years. What's the diagnosis here? How do we go in there and get some wins?
Yeah, haven't looked at them too much. We did a scrimmage with Emporia earlier this year, and like you said, they've made some really great strides the last couple of years. I think they're stronger this year than they have been in the past, just all the way around. And so they're definitely new personnel, but still very talented. So, it's going to be really important for us to be able to serve the ball tough. Our blocking is going to have to be significantly improved from this weekend. They like to run a really fast offense, and so if we're not going to serve the ball and keep them off the net, and then we're not going to block, then it could be a really long night for us. So we're definitely going to have to take care of business behind the service line, and then defensively try to fend them off a little bit, but definitely score points. We're our big problem for us last week was anytime we've lost, Tommy, it's because the team doesn't give us points. So we have to get used to, at the end of sets, earning our own points, because these great teams, they don't give you points at the end of a game. And so we're erring out of sets when we're up. And so we have to, that'll be a big point of practice when we're playing those sixes at the end of practice. We have to score out of this game. We're not going to err out of this game. We're going to score out of it. So just earning our points. So we're definitely going to have to do that this weekend. And then Washburn, obviously, they're having a great year, great start. They're very, very veteran, very mature. A lot of the same kids have been playing for them, so they're going to be really solid. Preseason-wise, I haven't looked too much at them. I think statistically they're just been very, very efficient, and they're hitting at a very high percentage. So once again, the block defense is going to come into play on Saturday too.
Well, you talk about not erring out of sets. I think Rockhurst was a great example. Only 8 errors committed by them in that entire match. So yeah, the Griffins trying to create their own luck. I hear that phrase thrown around at times. So that's what you got to do in this MIAA, and everyone's 0-0. It's the race to Civic Arena at at this point. The top 10 will play in the conference tournament this November in downtown, and that journey starts Friday at 6 o'clock at Emporia, and then further east down the Turnpike to play Washburn on Saturday. Both matches 6 o'clock starts, so we'll be just a little west of you, Coach Fye, in Hayes, Kansas. I'll be watching those live stats during football, so good luck to your team, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
There you go. Jess Fye joining us here on the podcast, talking volleyball. Hey, this team entered the polls this past week, number 21 in the country, and rightfully so. A couple wins over ranked teams, so still a good team, and lots to play for, lots to cheer about here this fall. We'll take a break. We'll talk football. And, yes, they'll be at footballs in Kansas, too. We play at Fort Hays State this Saturday night, and we'll be there to cover it for you if you're unable to make the trip. We'll talk about it with Coach Tyler Fenwick next. It's the GSI Podcast from Hi-Ho Bar and Grill. Back on our GSI Podcast, rounding out the show with a discussion on football. We're here with our head coach, Tyler Fenwick. Another home game, another great atmosphere. It's a beautiful night in St. Joe. The turn back the clock night. So many members of the 1975 Griffin football team out there, so hats off to all of those guys and their families for making the trip out. As for the game itself, another hard-fought game, another close defeat. Central Missouri escaping with a 34-26 win. And, Coach, a similar script to what we've been talking about. A good start by our team. We're up 10-0, and then we had a chance to tie it there at the end. And I know these ones are so hard to take, and, I mean, it's kind of like Groundhog Day in a way. Just closing thoughts from the game on Saturday.
I mean, there's times where we look really good, and there's times where we make some really boneheaded mistakes, and those are mistakes that are going to cost you every time. I mean, honestly, it's emotionally draining. You know, I mean, I think it wears on you, it wears on the kids, it wears, you know, because they see it, you know, they see how good we can be, and then they see where, you know, mistakes happen, you know, breakdown in communication, you know, whatever it might be. I mean, there's just, you know, the penalties that cost us. And I mean, you know, the penalties were, I mean, it was 8-8. It was, you know, it was pretty even, but our penalties just seemed to be at the wrong time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that we're working on trying to fix, and been doing some things I actually pulled out the rule book to let our team know today that it's true. There's a thing called an unsportsmanlike penalty that will get you. They don't believe me. I keep telling them, but so I pulled out the NCAA rule book today to prove it to them. So we'll see if that works.
The one that caught me off guard, it was a penalty on them, the delay of game for clapping on the defense.
Yeah.
That's where they're trying to mimic the snap count, right?
Yeah, which I thought was I mean, we'll take every penalty we can get. But I thought that was a little bit too much. I mean, it was obvious that he wasn't trying to mimic. First of all, we don't clap.
Right.
John Gruden doesn't like clapping, so we don't clap. But we don't do that, and so they're not trying to get you to jump off sides. He was trying to get somebody's attention. But I was like, yeah, well, all right, we'll take it.
Yeah, the way that was like announced in the stadium, like he was clapping, it made me chuckle a little bit on the air.
Yeah.
Through these defeats, though, you talk about so many peaks and valleys in a game like that. You know, and I was thinking about it, you know, as I'm sure everyone has, but it's like we only have one offensive turnover this year, so it's not like we're not taking care of the ball. We've talked about penalties. But in these games, you know, whether it was like last year or this year, like, are there these common denominators? Is it just missed assignments, breakdowns? Every game's different, but are you noticing trends in games like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the big thing that you're seeing right now is that we've got some guys that are inexperienced at positions that are where we're making mistakes, and so. What happened, like, for example, I mean, our receiving core, we said this going into the season, that our receiving core is going to have to grow, and I think they are growing. I think they're starting to make plays. I think they're starting to show up. I think they're exciting to watch. But as the consistency of an 80-play game, you're going to have, you know, that's where it shows up. And so, you know, defensively we've got, you know, and I'll be honest with you, I mean, Jake Leader's the guy that's got the most experience in the back end at safety, you know, and so he's the guy that, you know, understands the calls and the communication and the checks and all that other stuff, and all of a sudden he goes down, and now you got a new guy that's in there that we're trying to, you know, and they're throwing the tempo at you, and it's everything's spread out sideline to sideline, and it's all fast, and so you're processing all this information, and as much as you try to practice it during the week and prepare for it, and you sit there on Friday and go, man, we feel pretty good when things are slow, you know, a little bit slower, and all of a sudden it's coming at you, and so that's, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm, you know, we're saying the same things, but over and over again. But that's just the way it is. You know, on the flip side of that, you know, our offensive line they were making those mistakes last year, but they played an unbelievable game this year.
Yeah.
This week
With Adam Sotelo
with
having
Adam
to jump
Sotelo
in center.
there. So
Yep.
you got a guy like Adam Sotelo who's been a backup his whole career,
Yep.
and he's worked really hard to get himself in the best shape, and he's gotten stronger, and he understands. And as a backup, he goes in and prepares as if he's the starter. And he goes in and he graded out at like 96%.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's, the experience that group has had. And every year you're going to have a little bit, you're never going to have a whole team back, each year. And so, but you've got to climb through those, through that. You got to gain experience really quickly in this league.
Yeah. Well, I noticed too, Austin Soul had a snap for somebody, and then Malachi got in there on the O-line on a goal line play. So, and Tyler Duerbeck the week prior got a snap or two after Joe Turner's helmet flew off. So even those guys that are number 2 have come in and stepped up good on the offensive line. Talking about right before halftime, they had the momentum. They're up 8, and then you guys put someone back there at kick return, and I'm like, who is that? He was a guy that was given a jersey number a week or two within the last week or so. Jalen Dixon, freshman of Houston, Texas, graduate of Klein Cain High School. Nice little wrinkle. You put him back there, and he goes 98 yards to the house. Played running back in high school. He showed off his wheels there. What a moment to get some energy back at that point in time.
Yeah, was he wearing 88?
88, yeah.
He's a running back. I'm sure he's happy about that. I think we just threw him a jersey and said, hey, you're going to return this week.
Here you go.
No, he's a dynamic player. We saw it on film coming out of high school. He was about 160 pounds when we recruited him. He came in at 185 pounds.
Nice.
Just does things right. He's a guy that you can count on. He's accountable to himself. Just a great kid. You trust a guy like that does things right, that shows up on time, that works hard, that cares, and so we put him back there, and he's a dynamic player. And obviously, and here's the deal, we have not been very good on kickoff return this year. Our starting field position on returns have been the 15-yard line. We've been talking about fair catching stuff and all that, and if it doesn't get better, but Coach Bell's done such a great job over the course of his career on coaching up kickoff return, and we finally got those guys. Sticking on blocks, and Logan Clark, big time credit for Logan Clark. He was gassed.
Dude's
he was
everywhere.
tired. He was all over the place. He's playing, 90 snaps. But he did not. He was, and most of those guys, they'll pull themselves off a kickoff return to get a break, but he didn't. He wasn't going to do that. And he's like, no, I'm good. And he made a huge block on that play, and opened it up for Jalen. So that was really cool to see, and just a team effort on the kickoff return group.
Yeah. Here's your Mo West trivia useless nugget of the day, that we've had a kickoff return for a touchdown in 4 of the last 5 seasons. 5 kickoffs taken back for touchdowns since the start of the 2019 season. You could count Sam Webb in 2020 against Pittsburgh State when in unofficial games. That would be 6 kickoff returns for touchdowns since 2019. So, and we led the MIAA in kick return yards a year ago.
Yeah.
Second half, this to me was a big moment. So we pitch a 3-and-out to start on defense. That was great. They had a short punt. We take over at midfield. We're down 5, and then we go 3-and-out. And about as fired up as I've ever seen you was when the offense was coming off the field at that point, because very obviously that was an opportunity for us to get a drive going and go score. What did you see there on our first series coming out of halftime on offense? I know that's a very specific thing. But
yeah. You saw a big mistake.
Yeah.
It's third and 6. It was a missed assignment. And so, yeah, I kind of lost my cool on that one. I don't do that very often, but why are you watching me?
Well, you're right below me, and I saw the headset, and I'm like, because I don't see it often.
I didn't throw the headset.
Well, you didn't throw it. It came off.
Those are expensive.
It came off. Yeah. It whipped around a little bit. It caught my attention from 3 stories up. Let's put it that way. So we're down 15. We hold them to a field goal, and then we put together 6-minute scoring driver within 8, and then the game changes in a big way. Strip sack by Drew Scott, the recovery by Trey Nesbitt. Let's talk about Drew. I think it came up a week or so ago, the energy he's played with, 14 total tackles, 2 TFLs, sophomore linebacker out of Memphis. I think he's been one that's been consistent these 3 games.
Yeah, he needed to step up. Keenan Gaskin was out.
That's right.
And so he got the start, and just another guy. He's just a guy that you can count on. He cares. He works hard, attentive, learns the defense, physical, very physical, which is, that's one of those things where you sit there and you look at the future and you go, okay, Keenan's a senior. when he's gone, who's going to step into those shoes? And so, for Drew to come in and just the physicality of being able to step in and show that he can do that, the future looks good with him. And Brock Worcester is another one that is a young light that's been, coming through and being developed.
He had the solo sack the week before, right, against S&T?
I believe, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that happens with 8 minutes left. We get the ball back, and again, we're at about midfield. And what a wild final drive. We converted twice on fourth down, and it comes down to a final fourth down, and we come up short. Yeah. So now here's, obviously the burning question, and I'm going to do my delicate dance here. There's obviously a lot of talk about, what happened. The iPad didn't have the video or whatever. I kind of posed this question in the postgame. I said, if the sites, there's 10 football schools in our league, and I remember at Central Missouri 2-3 years ago, there was a targeting call. Same thing. They couldn't review it because that iPad died or something like that. So these are isolated incidents, and I think instant replay, this is year 4 of it in the MIAA. It's a great thing. If the higher level has it, we should have it as well. But these are isolated incidents that happen. You hear about it like, the basketball deal at Fort Smith in February. Like, what were they looking at? What did they see? What did they not see? If the shoe's on the other foot in that Central Missouri and there's no video, then you wonder what happens then. So I guess just you as a head coach on the receiving end of that deal, how do you deal with that when that does happen? It's clearly out of our control, and there's only so much we can say, right? I mean, it just happens at a critical point in the game. Is this a thing where, like, we evaluate, can we do this consistently? How do we do this to where things like that don't happen in the league?
I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah.
But how do you deal with it? I mean, you can't control it. So we got to move on to the next play. We don't have time.
Yeah.
We don't have time to sit there and sulk over it. We got to figure out what's the next play. And so, rather than having the ball first and goal from the 4, and honestly, I mean, I feel really good about first and goal on the 4, the way we were running the ball.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, we had a drive earlier that, we ran 2 plays, and we ran it all the way. We ran 10 straight run plays, and we had 2 calls. And we just kept hitting them with it. And it was, 4 yards, it was 6 yards, it was 8 yards, it was just, and we drove it all the way down and scored. So I felt good about if we had the ball on the 4-yard line, first and goal. I mean, I felt pretty good about, punching it in. But, you got to sit there and, you come back. But, I think, you mentioned the 2 fourth down conversions. I mean, those are things that you sit there and you go, I mean, I remember it was 4th and 8, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a moment of, can we handle the moment?
Yeah.
This is a 4th and 8. If we don't get it, game's over.
Yeah, we're in field goal range at that point.
We're in field goal range, but, I mean, we're down
Can't
8.
Goal. Yeah.
We got to score.
Yep.
And so, can our guys go out there, feel the pressure of being in a 4th and 8 situation at the end of the game and go convert? Yes, we did it. I mean, it was a really nice job.
Bryce and Marcus. Bryce and Isaac.
Well,
had
Isaac had the first one, and then we
Yep.
come back. We got another 4th down. I think it was 4th and 4. And so you're sitting there going, okay, here we go again. Can we back it up? Can we do it again? And so, yeah, I mean, we pull it out. We get another first down. And so you're sitting there going, okay, we could be pretty good. But then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we're inside the whatever we were on
the red
8-yard
zone.
line.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and now we have to score to tie it up, and can we handle those moments? And those are the things those are the big question marks right now. Can we handle the big moments, and can we fire away under pressure and execute?
Well, by and large, 4th down's been a moment we have handled well. Here's another fun fact. We lead the MIAA in 4th down conversions this year with 6 of them. And what's also, and the last thing I'd say about the replay discussion is what the folks are seeing on the Jumbotron in the stadium is not at all what the officials are looking at under the hood. Like, they cannot use the Jumbotron angle during reviews, is what I heard. So that adds another little wrinkle. It happened 3 years ago in a game that went to overtime against Washburn, where it was like a question of if a guy stepped out of bounds or not, and what we were seeing on the Jumbotron was completely different than the call that they made, and that was a whole deal in 2022, which was the first year replay. But we'll shelf that conversation for right now, because as Coach said, we focus on the next one, and that is Fort Hays State. The Tigers, we go to Lewis Field Stadium for a 7 o'clock kick this week, and Hays had a tough test themselves at Carney Smith Stadium in Pittsburgh, Kansas, taking on a resurgent Pitt team that took a couple losses, then they turned around, beat Grand Valley State a week ago, and Pitt beat Hays 31-16. Grand Valley ranked 3rd in the country at the time, mind you. So Hays had a tough challenge there. They're 2-2, but their wins are quality. They beat Colorado State Pueblo, who was 5th in the nation at the time, did it on the road, and they thrashed Nebraska Kearney 27-7 2 weeks ago. But their other loss, it's, you got Pitt, who's in the top 15. Hayes opened their season with 6th-ranked Angelo State, lost that one in a tight game. And they, like UCM, they boast a dual-threat quarterback, Caleb Heavner, who actually took over as their starter middle of last year. And this is a team that's always like, it feels like they get a lot of hype. They're always about 7-8 wins, just outside the playoffs. But we know one thing, that that Lewis Field Stadium, one of the rowdier places to play, our bench is right up against their student section, they have plenty to say in a 60-minute ball game. They support well, and that's a good team and a veteran coach. Coach Brown's been there a long time. Just thoughts going into this one?
Yeah, well, just like always, they do a great. They're coached well. They play great defense. They're big up front. Caleb Heavner is a guy that can. He's going to be able to throw it. He's going to run it. So we got to defend. The extra guy as far as the running quarterback. But. Going there and playing in front of, that crowd is always a lot of fun. You can sit there and say it's a hostile, but what a great environment. What a great college environment to have all those people there that are loud and they're obnoxious. And, I think that's what you want. You want to, I remember last year rolling in there at 3:30, rolling the buses up there and the place is packed with tailgating and people all over the place. And they're probably the most similar to a Pitt. Going to Pitt,
I would agree.
All that stuff. So I think it's a great experience, and if we can kind of put all that aside and just enjoy the moment, enjoy the atmosphere, but also go up and play, be able to play good football. And I think if we can play good football, and honestly, they've had a tough schedule, and they've, they beat Kearney and they lose to Pitt, and I think this league right now, I was talking to Lamberson, the head coach at Central Missouri before the game, and we're talking about the league, and it's, I don't know that anybody's going to be undefeated, in the conference at the end of this thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's anybody can beat anybody. I think this thing is wide open. Honestly, I think we're talented enough to be able to make a run at this thing, but we have to eliminate all the foolish stuff. And if we can do that and we can play a lot cleaner game, we could be pretty good. We got some really good players.
Yeah.
But we've got to play smarter.
Yeah, this whole league's played a hard schedule, us included, going to Augustana, who, by the way, is 4-0 now. They beat Bemidji State by 30 on the road this past week, so that's proven to be a quality opponent, and S&T looks a lot better than they have. So everyone's played hard, and because of that, there are no undefeated teams in the MIAA right now. In fact, 7 of the 10 teams in the conference already have a conference loss. So, yeah, this thing is wide open. And guess what? The first and second place teams are playing each other in Maryville this Saturday. So, yeah, this thing really is wide open. That's UCO at Northwest going on. A lot of big games. They're all big as it's only the 4th game of the year. And, everyone's already thinking about the implications and what's on the line. So it makes it fun. And, this is a fun place to play. A little hostile, but, props to, I've always said it, props to Hayes. They fill their basketball arena. They fill their football field with their fans out there in West Central Kansas. The pregame at 6:30, the kickoff at 7. Hey, you want to settle in on a Saturday night, not drive out there? We'll do that for you, so tune us in at gogriffins.com/listen and on the Varsity Network app, wall-to-wall coverage. And former Griffin, All-American, Dakari Streeter, he's going to be on the mic with us this Saturday, helping us to fill in as a color analyst. So looking forward to that. He's a good personality. I feel good about having him on there.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Hopefully he'll be a good luck charm for us there. So, Coach, thanks for the time, and good luck this week. There you go. Tyler Fenwick joining us, talk some football as we round things out here on the podcast. Want to thank him. Want to thank Coach Jake Plocher, Sean Gosewisch, Matt Thrasher, and Jessica Fye, our student athletes, Pal Valderrama, and Ava Martin for joining us as well. So stay tuned. Griffins are largely on the road this week, folks. Soccer, volleyball, football, all on the road. So stay tuned to gogriffins.com all week for the live audio coverage of football, and we'll have recap, stats, all you could want, all the coverage on our website, 24/7 at gogriffins.com. Thanks to our videographer, Jason Holland, audio engineer, Rick Leahy. Thanks to Mark and all the guys here at Hi Ho Bar and Grill for the patronage. And we are back next Monday, September 29th, for another episode of the GSI Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. So long.